Hey everyone, Shabim here and welcome back to another simulation here on Football Manager 2019. And in this one we're going to be looking at what Laurent Blanc could do as the Manchester United manager. Now when Mourinho was sacked, Laurent Blanc was one of the first names that really came out, one of the original favourites to get the job straight away. However, it never quite happened at the time. Not saying it won't happen in the summer. Of course, they brought on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as an interim just to try what would happen, just to basically allow Man United a bit more time to really think about who they want to take on long term, because to be honest, the previous three managers have all been not quite fit for purpose. So a few months to really plan things out could be pretty good, and who knows, Laurent Blanc could be the full-time Manchester United manager. But how would he do? That's what we're going to ask Football Manager 2019 today. As I always say, this is just a simulation, not saying this is exactly what will happen. However, this game has had a history of being pretty accurate in some places, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Looking at stats-wise, he's a pretty much all-rounder. Not necessarily the best as of yet, though. I should imagine he might have a bit more potential. But he is 52 years old. I didn't realise he was actually quite old. He's only managed for two clubs, and of course the France national side as well. Interesting, his motivation is only 15. His man management is only 13. We've seen much higher than that in previous tests on this game. So it's going to be interesting. Stats-wise, he's not quite as high as the others. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on compared to the others. Anyway, let's move forward to the end of the first season and see just how Mr. Laurent Blanc got on. And here is the answer to that question of how did Laurent Blanc get on. Not very well. He has left after just one season. Pretty crazy. Let's look at the reason why he was sacked. He was sacked as the manager at the end of the season. So it only lasted one... No, he was sacked in... Why, he was sacked in the end of February. Wow. That's pretty crazy. I wasn't expecting to be that early on, to be honest. He was sacked at the end of February by Manchester United. So he did not have the best of runs. Let's have a quick look. So they finished 6th in the league overall. That's pretty poor, actually. You can see why he was let go. Only 6th in the league is probably the worst we've seen in any of our simulations so far. Let's have a look at the transfers that were completed, because of course he would have done them all. I didn't say anything.
Sorry,
yes.
I don't know that one.
I didn't even say your name. Be quiet. Right. So of course Fred is already on there. Ignacio Camacho, Spanish defensive midfielder, who's now on the transfer list straight away. Christopher Ajar from Celtic. I mean, it's not a bad signing. He's a good potential player, but at that value, 47 million from Celtic? Wow. They must have had a lot of money to spend on that one. Mario Gaspar, 22 million pounds for the 28-year-old right back. Not a bad idea. We do need that sort of strength at right back position. And also on the last day of the January transfer window, Guido Pizarro, an Argentinian centre defensive midfielder, also on the transfer list. So it looks like maybe the transfers may have been a bit of an issue for him here. It hasn't really helped him out too much, has it? If we look at the schedule then, so he was sacked in February. So he was sacked just after this Arsenal game by the looks of it. So let's have a look how he got on then. It's not looking great, is it? It was, well, wins against Fulham and Huddersfield in the first two games of the season. Then a 3-0 loss to Man City, followed up by a 3-0 loss away at Burnley. Wow. And a 0-0 draw with Spurs, a win against Lyon before losing 3-1 at home to Leicester, and then 1-0 away at Wolves. I wonder he got sacked. He's like lost. Well, he hasn't won a single Premiership game in September. And then further on, another 2 losses in a row in the Premiership before finally getting a win against Everton. Wow. In that time, he also beat Newcastle and Everton in Hull in the EFL Cup. Did pretty well in the Champions League though, beating Bayern Munich there as well, beating Lyon again, home and away. Lost to Bayern away from home, but they're obviously through in the Champions League. Then losing to Newcastle away, drawing with Bournemouth, wins against Southampton, lost to Liverpool, beat Derby 3-1 in the quarter-finals before drawing again with Huddersfield and drawing with Crystal Palace with Cardiff squeeze in the middle. Got a win against Fulham before being knocked out in the 3rd round of the FA Cup by Arsenal, but they did knock Man City out of the EFL Cup in the semi-finals by beating them on penalties and drew against Man City in the league. Then lost to Spurs, beat Leicester, drew with Wolves, beat Bruges in the Champions League knockout stage, but this was the week that finally killed him off, losing on penalties in the EFL Cup final against Liverpool. with Martial. Wow, that's bad. Martial, Pogba, Sanchez and Matic all missing the penalties. And then losing 2-1 at home to Arsenal was the final nail in the coffin for old Laurent Blanc. A new manager obviously came in, and after that they started to pick things back up again a little bit. It's still pretty rough, to be honest with you. Not great, but they are in the Champions League final. We'll have to go forward a few days and find out what happens. It's actually tomorrow, isn't it? Shall we have a look and see who's in charge? There we go. Have a guess. Go on. Have a guess who's in charge. Of all the managers that were available, have a guess who's in charge. It is... it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Wow. Talk about history repeating itself, eh? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is in charge of Manchester United. Wow. Okay, well, let's move forward a day or so and see how it all ended up in the Champions League. Well, a season of disappointment continued as they lost 1-0 to Spurs with a 5th-minute Dele Alli goal. It's terrible. It's been a really bad season, hasn't it? Laurent Blanc just was not up to the challenge, and even Solskjaer, when he came in, really struggled. I feel like there's going to be a bit of a changeover in the summer, maybe bring a new players in, get rid of old players, but it looks to me like Laurent Blanc, according to this game, would not be a very good option for the Manchester United manager. He really struggled. It's not so much losing the big games. I don't think he won a single big game all season against the big 6 teams, but he's just struggling against the little teams as well. I mean, where are we? Losing away to Newcastle, drawing with Bournemouth, losing to Watford. He lost to Arsenal, Chelsea there, losing to Wolves, Leicester, losing 3-0 to Burnley is pretty bad as well. And yeah, I don't think he won a single match against a big team, did he? He got a couple of draws, but apart from that, lost to Chelsea, lost to Arsenal, of course lost to Man City, lost to Liverpool, lost to Arsenal, lost to Man City, drew Man City, beat Man City, lost to Spurs, lost to Arsenal, lost to Liverpool. He lost against all the big teams, which really did not help him at all, did it? But there we go. It was a short-lived career for Laurent Blanc. And yeah, according to this game, I do think there are better options out there, to be honest. I'm surprised. I didn't believe that Laurent Blanc was so old, to be honest. Not so old, a bit harsh, isn't it? But being at 52 years old, I thought he was a younger, more up-and-coming manager. But at 52 years old, granted he's got another 10, 15 years in him probably, depending on how late he wants to go in his career. But he's not the young, sort of up-and-coming manager that I expected he would be. I mean, managers within the past, like Eddie Howe and Marco Rose and people like that, are a lot younger, and maybe it could be a better option. Even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, like I said, we don't know how he's going to get on as of yet. The big tester is going to be this weekend. Of course, he's won 5 games on the trot, but they've all been against pretty easy opposition, but taking nothing away. Winning 5 games on the trot is fantastic. However, today, actually coming up later on today, or it might have already been on by now actually, he will be playing his first difficult game, and that is the one at Spurs. And that is going to be a real sort of test to see how good Solskjaer really is. So I'm looking forward to that one today. So hopefully he can continue. If he gets another win against Spurs, I think that would really start to turn people's heads, and maybe Solskjaer will be the one to get the permanent job. But anyway, that's the end of this video. We will leave you now. Of course, our next video in this playlist will be in a few days' time, and that will be... It's Allegri next. We're going to have a look at Allegri as a Manchester United manager. I believe he has actually said that he doesn't want the job, but we're going to test him anyway. If you have enjoyed this one, please do hit a like and of course subscribe if you want to see some more. I've been Shabby Gamer. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.